Cryptocurrency Bitcoin has risen above the $13,000 mark for the first time. Bitcoin began the 2017 financial year with a value of less than $1,000 per token. However, over the past few months it has undertaken a meteoric rise. It surpassed $5,000 in October and then rose to $11,000 less than 2 months later. The cryptocurrency now has a total market value of about $203 billion, with a price increase of 600% in 2017. It is speculated that rising interest from retail and institutional investors who see Bitcoin as potentially being able to replace physical currency in the future is behind the surge in prices. Many technicalities concerning the blockchain technology that drives Bitcoin are still unclear, and as such there could be potential for hacking and other cybersecurity threats. Jonathan Davis, economist and wealth management expert, was unsure as to the future success of Bitcoin.
It's gone up 1,200% in 2017. Now, that clearly is not just an exponential or as I call it, an Eiffel Tower rise in the asset price. It's also a bubble. But bubbles can go on far longer than some people expect, and bubbles normally do crash at some point. The only possible negatives that I can see arising are that the futures exchanges are now coming on stream, which means that literally imminently, it'll be days or weeks, market participants will be able to short this asset. At the moment, you can only buy it, you can then sell it, but what you can't do is bet that it goes down in price. And that's what shorting means. And I can tell you that the last time a major asset suddenly had the futures allowing shorts was in the uranium mining market in 2007. And unsurprisingly, 2007, 2008, we saw the peak in that market. It then went down 90%.
He also gave his views on the potential risks of investing in it.
The main risks in terms of security with Bitcoin are one which are all too abundantly clear, unfortunately. Bitcoin holdings can be hacked, and literally your assets can be stolen from you. That is an issue which is just unfortunately always going to be there. My goodness, if NASA can be hacked, and I gather it has been, then I think you got to accept that anyone can be hacked. The other major risk issue is quite simply, it could all be fraud. It could all be the biggest scam since Charles Ponzi created the most well-known scam called the Ponzi scheme back in the 1920s. Nobody actually knows if this is a real asset.
Bitcoin, however, does appear to be beginning to be accepted by mainstream financial institutions. The Chicago Mercantile Exchange and the Chicago Board Options Exchange are the latest companies who have legitimized the cryptocurrency's investment credentials following the announcement of their plan to introduce futures contracts to their exchanges. Gordon Fletcher of the University of Salford Business School thought that Bitcoin is unlikely to crash.
My sense of where things are happening at the moment is that it's an upward push, definitely an upward push. There's a sort of a natural level at which Bitcoin will find itself in terms of its price. I don't think it's going to crash. I don't feel that there's a crash necessarily imminent from the point of view of where it is currently, but there is a natural level, and it may well be it's at a point where it's beyond that natural level, if you like. But obviously, because of the nature of Bitcoin in terms of what it is and the basis by which it has value, as more people recognize the value of the technology that underlies it and that is related to it, I think that will actually help the price for a continued period of time as well. So it's a complex interplay in some ways.
He also thinks that given the right investment, it could potentially replace physical currency in a not-too-distant future.
The governments that currently use Bitcoin, currently other currencies will resist because it's a challenge to their own currency, it's a challenge to their control of a currency. But a forward-thinking country and a forward-thinking government within a country that's prepared to recognise Bitcoin as value, or a different cryptocurrency as having value and equivalent meaning as their existing currency, may well be the sort of signals, the starting points for a bit of a change in terms of attitude and a change in terms of more popular use.
Indeed, it does seem that cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin are now truly beginning to make their mark, with Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro even announcing his intention to implement one, the Petro, within the country. Whether the Bitcoin will crash following the unprecedented success of 2017 remains to be seen, but certainly many investors will aim to get ahead in what could be a virtual 21st century gold rush. Daniel Rell, Radio Sputnik.